Sliding into your screen is not just any coffee can, it's a Roastar coffee can. Don't need thousands. Personalize just one in Roastar's Design Lab. No design experience needed. Choose a pattern, add your logo and text, or create something memorable with AI. Being made in the Midwest, you can expect it on your doorstep in no time. Now that was smooth.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Ryan Woldt, the host of the Coffee People and Coffee Smarter podcasts. And there are bags under my eyes because I haven't had enough coffee yet today, but I'm working on it. And I'm working on it with my friend Nick Schmitt from Roastar Coffee Packaging. Every now and again, every month we try to get together for a cup of coffee, either out in the world or just virtually to catch up on what's going on in our coffee lives. And I hope you enjoy it. Here's another episode of Nick and Ryan Drink Coffee. Cheers.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How do I sound?
You sound like a damn dream, like a young Casey Kasem. Do you know who Casey Kasem is?
Yeah, from the radio. I was hoping to bring out like a line, but that's like top, like top hits.
Top 40. You can listen
40.
to his weekly top 40 shows, like syndicated. Like people enjoyed him so much they replay the top 40 shows from 1965 or whatever.
Does he still do that?
I do not think
alive?
he is alive. I didn't do a lot of Casey Kasem research before the show. Honestly, don't even know how I remembered that. But I do remember that as a kid, we would listen to, I think on Sundays, Casey Kasem do the top 40 because we would try to record the songs that we liked, on a blank cassette tape, which is just a thing that you don't get with digital. Like the effort that it took to get your favorite song so that you could listen to it over and over again. You'd have the cassette, the blank tape in there, and you'd have to hit the button to record the song. And then you'd also have to hope that the radio DJ didn't like interrupt it near the end to like go to the next song. Or if you only caught like part of the song because they didn't, play them like as on a loop the way they do as much now, you might record half the song and then have to the next time around like try to line it up and hit the button at the right time and hope there wasn't a lag, in the recording. And so if you liked a song, you really had, like if you wanted to get Mama Got Run Over by a Reindeer or something on your cassette tape, Grandmama, yeah, you really had to work for it. You had to really like that song. Which is why when I make mixtapes now, like on Spotify for like coffee drinking mixtapes that I put out every month, I put those out every month if anyone sees this. I kind of feel like a fraud because all I have to do is like put a bunch of songs into a thing and then start listening through and organizing. And I don't have to do like the work of waiting, the anticipation of that song coming back around. I can just have it whenever I want.
I looked it up. Casey Kasem is definitely not alive anymore. He died in 2014.
Yeah. And I think he was pretty old.
82.
Yeah. He was, I remember now that I say that though, when you're a kid and you think people are old and then later in life you find out they were like 28 or 35 or something. Maybe you don't have that yet, but there's definitely like celebrities that I thought were like my grandparents' age or something, because when you're little, you can't really tell the difference between 25 and 70. When you're young, like anyone over, like anyone out of college is like 100. There's no in between when you're early in your teen years. And now I don't even think about like if somebody's 60 or they're 40 or 20, like it's all the same to me. Like it's just human beings again until they're close to the end.
You mentioned like mixtapes. The closest that I got was burning CDs, which I did a
Hmm.
little bit of.
Did
Now
you
I
ever burn a CD for a special someone?
elementary school.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was the
I
best.
don't think I remember her name, but yep, I had a couple special songs. Brown Eyed Girl was one of them, even though I
Oh,
don't think she had brown eyes.
did you?
Uh,
I'm assuming you had help with this if it was elementary school, like from a
yeah,
parent, perhaps.
my older sister Abby,
Same.
she was a wizard with I don't remember there was some LimeWire. She was like a
Yeah.
LimeWire pro. I think it ruined like two of our home computers.
I think we would download. I mean, I think the statute of limitations has passed here, but I'm sure the house that I lived in college was downloading music or something from LimeWire or Napster or one of those sites 24 hours a day for like 3 years. So however much, which content didn't stream as fast then, so that was probably like 12 songs. I don't really know for sure exactly, but it was like it was just so overwhelming, and you couldn't even listen to it all, or it was just that you could have it uh, at a time when you didn't have a lot of money for sure. Good morning. How are you? What are you drinking? Is it
Good morning.
snowing?
It's not snowing right now, but it was snowing pretty much all weekend long. Up
Yeah.
at the ski hill, it got cold enough they were blowing snow all weekend. So
Isn't
I can see some snow like on the grass, not a lot. All the roofs have it on.
isn't that kind of a lost cause though? Like this early, like if they're blowing snow now, like it's probably going to warm up again and melt.
I mean, I think part of it is just getting the equipment going, and
Mm, could be.
also they can get it open as soon as possible, as far as I'm concerned. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, good morning. I'm drinking I don't even know where it's from. Um, it's a Columbia coffee that is pretty good. It's a medium roast. This is it. Oh, Vice City is the roaster. It's a pretty cool
Oh,
bag.
nice. I know them.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they're in Florida. This was given to me at Coffee Fest Orlando recently.
so what do you call that? Like I grabbed it too actually. Um, I have a sister's coffee, just a medium roast, pretty basic daily driver. Um, this is like a flat bottom bag. What do you call like that where it's kind of like I mean it is flat, but it's not kind of. I mean it's I don't know.
Yeah, it's a stand up pouch. So
Okay.
it's got like the bottom, instead of being like one separate bottom panel, it's more like when it's made, it's basically like a big rectangle, and then it's kind of folded together, and the bottom is creased to make that. Whereas like the flat bottom bag that you have it's actually made up of 4 or 5 separate panels, and they're all
Right.
married together in the machine, which is a really complicated production process. That's why the minimums and prices are higher on those, because they are a
Yeah.
much harder bag to produce.
Uh, so Sister's Coffee, which is maybe like an hour and a half for me. Uh, they're one of the indie roasters that sell in the grocery stores around here, and there's not a lot. I mean, there's a few that are pretty straightforward. Like all they do is like grocery wholesale, and they're not maybe your first choice. They're one step above like a Kirkland or a Folgers or something. Maybe not even a step above a Kirkland. I think they end up sometimes getting some pretty okay coffee for people, but I don't know too much about their off-book coffee program. But what I notice about Sisters and what I like actually, and the reason I pick it over maybe a different brand, that is similar, is the package is like a mat of the mountain over there in Sisters. They have skiing there as well, Sisters Bowl. Actually, there was a big fire there a few years ago, so a bunch of trees burned. But um, each one of the packages has kind of the same mountain print on it, except the kind of the gradient of sky is different. And so it's kind of various points through the day. And something I didn't know about myself, but I'm learning, up here in the Pacific Northwest, is that I like seeing mountains. Like when I drive, we drove this weekend up towards Portland and we're just exploring all these like little towns and kind of the outer ring. But along the five, like at various points, you can look over and see Mount Jefferson or Mount Hood. And every time it was just kind of like this thrill, and I don't know, I'm trying to remember what it was like when we first moved by the ocean, but there's to just see this thing that is rising in the distance, and it's almost 75 to 90 miles away depending on where I was, and it still is the most commanding thing on the skyline. And so when I sit and have my coffee, I don't always do this, but with these bags of sisters, I've probably had 3 or 4 now since I've been here, I like actually bring it out and have it like sitting, just kind of because this little mountain scene here in the morning, which I don't get from the yard, but it's still there.
Mm-hmm. There was a roaster that I saw recently. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of who it was, but they had kind of a similar like mountainscape, just kind of like an image, but it had kind of that like how the background sky. You mentioned the colors change.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole kind of color theory thing on what expectations to have for whether they're subconscious or not, like what you expect flavors to be like based on how the bag looks.
Oh, that's interesting, because I know
and
like
they
color translates to emotion pretty distinctly, but to think that it translates to taste, I didn't realize.
Yeah, or at least the perception of taste, which still
Mm.
matters. It'll affect how you take it in. But they kind of change out like the sky and sort of the background like colors that are sort of a gradient based on the different coffee. Like if they're doing like a kind of like a medium roast or something that maybe has more like caramely cocoa-y notes, it'll be more of kind of like a brownish background versus like a crazy co-ferment or something that has more like bright like floral or fruity notes. It'll have more of like a kind of purple pink color, which just somewhat sets the expectation. I mean, if you're looking at a shelf and you saw a brown versus a pink bag,
Yeah,
you might come to the conclusion that this one might be more,
a little bit
robust,
crazier.
chocolatey versus yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
it's kind of
did
playing into that.
some color theory stuff when I was in design school, and it was one of my favorite parts of like the psychology of design. And in a statement of kind of where the design industry has gone with automation, just yesterday I was buying uh, this coffee and a bag of grapes, red grapes, from the market here, and the guy behind the register couldn't find like the right code or the right thing on the grape bag to like scan it, and he's just getting kind of frustrated, and he goes, "Oh, there it is in red on a purple bag." And this is why I'm working at the grocery store and not as a graphic designer, which is what I went to school for. I went, "Oh, oh, I feel you, buddy. Like I've been there, but I don't want to like get into a commiseration, but yeah, you like the idea that design is both form and function, like they have to work together. Um, uh, my coffee this morning is good. It could be better if I had spent more effort. I think. I
Did you
think
brew
like
it with what did you brew it with?
a machine. I mean, it's a it's a brewing machine where you press the button, but you still measure the ratios and everything, and it technically has a bloom feature. I really love the machine. It's a Simply Good brewer, but if you're kind of lazy and you're not really like measuring well or grinding well, I'm still trying to figure out my grinder since we've been back. When I pulled it out of the box it had been stored in all summer, well, longer than that, but and started to put it back together, there was rust in it, and so I had to like create this whole gross baking soda pot goo thing and clean it all off, and like I didn't want to scrub it with a brush because I didn't want to scratch the burrs or anything, but it took me a while, and but and when I put it all back together, which isn't terribly difficult, but everything just seems off like a bit. So I'm kind of going back through and like every day adjusting my grind settings a little bit, but that doesn't always make for the best coffee. Like I haven't dialed it in at all. It's just kind of trying to figure out what did I adjust or tweak funny here that is throwing this off on me. So it's first world problems, man. Although there's not, prismatic is close enough for me to ride my bike too. Although I wouldn't say it's terribly safe to do so. But I mean, I could. I'm pretty comfortable
You have
on
to
a
get on
bike.
the highway with your bike.
No, but there's like only two. There's like a major thoroughfare that you get on for a bit with very minimal bike friendliness to it, and it's not far, but that's kind of the only coffee shop, and I didn't. I knew I was spoiled. You saw where we lived in San Diego. Like you could walk to, I think, 7 different roasters in my neighborhood alone, and you want to get on your bike, the sky's the limit, right? But here, this is definitely something I wasn't thinking about. There are 2 or 3 other good coffee shops, close enough that I would normally just jump on my bike and go, except for the fact that it's like extremely hilly. Like if you don't want to get on like a major highway or a county highway type of thing, you're going up and you are going down, and by the time you get there, you will be like burned out, and then you have to come back, and it makes it that much harder to like, oh, I'm going to go out and engage with humanity for an hour, because like, and I know what it's going to cost me to do so, and then if you
Sounds
do
like
it, yeah, and then your coffee's not great that day, it's like, oh, worse.
it kind of sounds like being a cross country runner going to Wausau East High School.
Mm.
You know the geography of Wausau. East is kind of on top of a hill,
Yeah.
and anytime we would go for a run, the way out was great. We would go downhill the whole way, and then we would turn around and we were uphill all the way back.
Did you guys win though? Was it worth it?
We were faster on the hills.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I did a ride yesterday from where I live to. It was like kind of like, what's my route to get to this coffee place I want to go to this week, so that I wouldn't be like thinking about it early in the morning. I could just get up and go. And yesterday was a beautiful fall day, but by the time I rode there and back, which wasn't super far, let's call it like 8 or 9 miles. I was so exhausted. I laid down in the grass, like in the leaves, and just like laid there for like 10 minutes when I got back because I am definitely out of biking shape and very much out of hill biking shape. And I didn't take my e-bike. I took my regular bike. And I thought there's no way without the e-bike that I would want to do this, because in part, I'm an ancillary part of the coffee industry now to some extent. With this show, I don't want to show up and be just drenched drenched in sweat, and then have somebody like there that I know be like, oh, you're the guy from the show, which occasionally happens now, very occasionally, but it does. And then just have me just be like, yeah, okay, just give me a coffee, please shut up, I can't breathe. Which is what would
Do
happen.
you want to record an episode?
Let's talk. Here, follow my show. Like I swear it's like not recorded under the bridge. Although that would make for a pretty cool show, probably. Just coffees under bridges all over the country. I bet you that would go viral, and because I don't understand what goes viral or not.
I don't either. We doing social media, we rely on the algorithm that anything that I guess is good people will see it. Anything that is not good, simply people just won't see it. So put it out either way. That's kind
I
of
think you guys
my
have been
motto.
doing a lot of really fun stuff. How do you, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, Nick, we have this idea, we want you to do this video, or are you the one going to them and saying, I have an idea? Like, because some of your stuff looks like it's kind of designed to be fun and entertaining, And I would argue maybe like, hey, we want this to kind of go bigger or jump on a trend that's happening.
Yeah, we definitely, scroll, look for trends. Um, most of the things that I'm doing with customers, I'm seeking out for the most part. Would love to get to a point where people in the industry want to do something with us. So if anybody sees this and wants to do a little Instagram video with us, feel free to just ask. But so far, not a whole lot of that. It kind of comes and goes. Usually it's kind of just inspired based on who the person is. If they have like a really cool package and a cool story behind it, like why not just jump on them telling the story of that?
Have you seen anything? I think I sent you a picture of that box at Prismatic like a couple weeks ago. It was like a special box they did. I found out later that that box, which I'll put some pictures up on the screen here if anyone's watching the show and not listening. It was. I found out that the box was the size of 2 decks of playing cards or one normal tarot card size. It was designed to be like you were opening up like a deck of tarot cards. And then there was this like kind of sealed coffee package inside. And I thought that was kind of cool. And then they also had, they definitely put thought into or intention into like what they're presenting when you come into their store. Beyond their regular bags, they also have for this season they had a coffee they were calling Graveyard, which came in a tube, and it was one of your tubes. I'm certain. And the idea behind it was kind of like a blend of all these coffees that they had bought over the years, and then this year, and there was a little bit left, and they were like, how can we make this into a coffee that we think will be good, to sell, but also like we're representing that this is like the graveyard of our coffee. And so that was their Halloween release. It was pretty cool. I'm gonna see if I can get a picture of that too. I was trying to get a tube of it, but then like when I was there, they were closing up, and I just ran out of time. But
I think a good name for that would have been the Frankenstein blend.
I wonder if they seem like they're kind of on top of that. I wonder if they didn't because they were trying to stay away. There's like 3 Frankenstein movies out right now, I feel, uh, which is it's one of those stories that keeps coming around. And I watched an old movie last night, like really old movie called Sneakers with Robert Redford and Sidney Poitier, and all these great actors were in it, kind of in their early stages. Dan Aykroyd was in it, and it's like a hacking movie, but like it started in the '60s and was set in the '80s, and so it was like the kind of hacking that like most toddlers do now. Like, the computing power was not quite there, but it was actually more of like a heist movie. And as I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is almost identical to like the first Tom Cruise Mission Impossible story. Even like some of the bits of like coming in from the ceiling and like, not making noise or changing the temperature were in there. And, you start going backwards and you realize that all of our entertainment to some extent is a reproduction or a recreation of something that maybe happened already. And that doesn't mean that somebody stole it. It just means that these ideas that people have seen throughout their life start culminating, and then they go, oh, it would be cool. And then they either do the same thing or they do a similar thing in a new way that is still interesting. And I think coffee is kind of like that too, because, and I'm coming back around. Uh, there's a lot of green coffee buyers, especially a lot of boutique buyers. Quick shout out, Joe Bettinger, my friend Joe, just signed up with Vornis Coffee Traders. He was with Cape Horn for a long time. I know they had a great relationship, but he really likes to focus on indie coffee, and I think he found a really good home there at Vornis. So good for him. But a lot of coffee roasters, especially small ones or ones that are just getting into it, they're buying from the same places. So they might be buying from the same lot as somebody else. So at any given time, there's, so many coffee roasters around the country who are roasting the same green, right? And if you could somehow, if there was a way to like go into a database and like go, okay, here's a dozen different coffee people all doing the same Columbia green coffee. How can I get a bag of each of those and just see how the same concept, same starting point leads to here? And that's kind of like some of the competitions that I've gotten to judge. But
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the roasting competitions where, yeah, like they're starting with the same exact green coffee,
yeah,
and obviously, from you being on the judging panel, you know that some of them are mind blowing and some of them are like really terrible. But it's like, yeah, the same coffee that you start
the
with.
term you're looking for is dog poo poo.
Dog poo
And I
poo.
hate to
Yeah.
say that, but like, I'm not saying anyone's names, obviously, but like sometimes you'll taste a coffee and you think, and roast competition is different because there's the stress of time and limited quantity and all these other things. But there are definitely cases where you go, I wonder if the person who sent it thinking this is the best version of this coffee, or they went, oh, this did not work out the way I hoped. F it.
Already paid
Like,
for it.
I already paid for it. I'm sending it in.
Yeah, I just got done. Well, a few weeks ago, I was in Houston doing the attending the Golden Bean, which was my first time there, and it was kind of interesting. The event itself was a lot of tables, and everybody was cupping coffees.
Mm.
So all of these, I think 300 plus roasters were like submitted coffees ahead of time across a few different categories. Um, and the whole room was basically like a collective judging kind of format. So
Were they
everybody
talking
there.
about what they were saying, feeling?
There was some collaboration, yeah. Like kind of we were broken into tables of about 6 people at each table. So yeah, we were, and especially if there was like a really good one, or we weren't sure about, because we were scoring them kind of on similar to the SCA cupping format,
Mm-hmm.
kind of assigning them a score. If there was a really great one, we would call over like one of the head judges to have a taste. But it was really interesting that some of them just, it's not cheap to compete. Some of them truly
Yeah.
were not good. Yeah, it's
Competition is such a weird thing. I want to clarify something. You would call over like a head judge. Was the whole room tasting every coffee, or were you given, here's a segment of coffees that they're then narrowing down into like the best of each section? Each table gets the section that would then go to like the head judges to like narrow down further.
yeah. So I wasn't the engine room, they call it, where they're preparing the coffee samples.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know how many of each coffee went out, but there were like a handful of each coffee to different tables. So it's not like we were all tasting the same coffee at the same time, and like the whole room was talking about this one coffee.
Right.
There were a lot of coffees to get through. There were hundreds of them. So
That was
in
something I
some,
didn't realize about judging. I learned that actually the World Series of Beer in Denver, Great American Beer Fest. Uh, my cousin Don is a judge, or was a judge for a couple of decades, and he told me they get tens of thousands of submissions. So it's not like reasonable that like one person's going to drink all of those and like compare them to each other. So that's kind of how they did it. Uh, on the other side of that, he got to bring home what they didn't end up sampling. Like
hmm.
somebody would always send like 5 cans or 5 crowlers or bottles. Maybe you only needed one for the taste test. And so then he had this whole basement filled with like decades worth of Beer Fest beer. Some really cool cellar stuff, but also like a Pilsner from 1987 that maybe wasn't going to be, you know, super enjoyable anymore.
It
Although I
was
would
cool
have
though,
tried.
kind of calibrating in the room. Like we were
Yeah,
all kind of calibrating to not the top level, because I mean, not everybody, I'm not a Q grader, like we
right.
aren't all at the same level of tasting, but what we were all calibrating as a room to was like pretty much the average coffee drinker. So that was like something that we could all kind of agree on, like from this perspective. So I had to shift some of
Sure.
my opinions on like what I personally would want to drink, to look at them more objectively. And the room was on the same page. Like if two of us had totally different, like the same coffee, our scores pretty much lined up right on, which obviously should be the goal.
Yeah, well, and also like that kind of system helps weed out like outliers. If 20 people try a thing and 18 of them go, okay, it's a 82-point coffee or whatever the scoring system is now, and two people are like, no, it's 100. Well, okay, something is a little off, so you kind of blend it together. When I do the Hisea competitions, um, we're not supposed to talk about what our opinions are while we're doing it. I am a very expressive coffee drinker or coffee judge, I have found. I didn't realize at first I was doing it until the other people in the room, it's a smaller judging crew. I think we were judging like 140 coffees the first time. So 70 a day, give or take, or 35 over 3 days, depending. That's not the right math, but you get the picture.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, hey man, you got to like stop what you're doing with your face, because I know what you're going to write about this coffee based on the way your face looks after you take a sip of it or a slurp of it, And I was like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I'm not, I'm not objective enough.
Are you good at poker?
No, I don't play poker. Like, I mean, I'm good at it because I don't follow any of the rules. And so if it were like a couple of hands, I can usually do okay. Or like in the old days, if there was Texas Hold'em was big when I was in my 20s. And so that was like a big bachelor party thing. And I do okay because I don't really follow any of the rules and I get bored really fast. I mean, like I can't sit at a table and play for a long time. It doesn't interest me in that way.
I just wonder if there's any crossover between like your poker face and your cupping face.
No, but I think there's sometimes people don't know if I'm being sarcastic or snarky or I'm making a joke or I'm just being an asshole. And so I can kind of get away with that a little bit. But with coffee, it's a lot harder. Like you can see on my face usually when I drink a cup of coffee. Like I've learned actually not to do that for shows, because I always have a cup of coffee when I'm meeting with a guest on Coffee People. And you can't have a show where like 10 times through the show, somebody's like, you just can't, like, it's just too distracting. But like in the cupping room, in the judging table, that feels like that's where I should be able to like really let it out. Or like if it's really good, I will say some of the noises I might make when a coffee's really good are probably inappropriate. Like it just probably shouldn't do that. I gotta cut that back. But if you make a really good cup of coffee, I want you to know that I vocally appreciate it.
Awesome. The other unexpected thing with the Golden Bean were some of the categories. Obviously, there were like standard brewing categories like espresso and filter coffee. There was also a milk-based category, kind of on like how an espresso, like it was the same ratio, probably 1-to-1 or I assume it's 1-to-1 espresso and steamed milk, just to kind of see like how like an espresso that you're going to drink on its own is probably a little different than if you're going to get one in a milk-based beverage. Kind of like how the espresso pairs with like the sweetness of the milk and how balanced it is, like if it cuts through the milk. And the first couple that I tried, I was like, wow, these are some really sweet espressos. Obviously knowing that like milk has inherent sweetness, but I was like, wow, these espressos are really like much sweeter than I would think. And then like 10 minutes in, then they brought around a little cup of steamed milk and they were using like an ultra pasteurized milk. And I was like, oh shoot, no, it's the milk that's really sweet, because I hadn't tried the milk on its own.
That's a really interesting category, though. I don't think I've seen a lot of that. But that's cool that they do that. I mean, now that you've done that kind of, I mean, Golden Bean's a pretty big deal. Like now that you're in the room there, do you have business cards? Golden Bean Judge Nick Schmitt. Is that something you're thinking about doing? Or like, what if you bought a bag of coffee and you spray painted all the beans gold and you just like left them for people? Like, no name, no anything, but you became known as the person who did that.
It was really kind of difficult the first couple days getting home after that. after my whole brand, every time I tasted a coffee, I'm like, just kind of
Oh,
assigning a score. Like I
oh,
was so
mentally.
dialed in on what the scores are of coffees, and then I got home and I'm like a great score for that was like 30. Was a very good score, and then like a not so good coffee was maybe like 20 ish, like 22. And like I got home and I like made this coffee like the same way that I usually do, beans that I was excited about before I went to go to the meeting, and then I tried it and I'm like, shoot, this is like a 24. Like, you gotta have to compartmentalize it a little bit and
And you smash
separate
the
yourself.
glass on the ground, like just like this is trash.
Yeah, I had to get back into the fact that I'm not brewing exceptional competition coffees all the time.
Uh, we were talking about some of the packaging earlier, which I think it's kind of funny that we both brought our bag of coffee to the show, which I don't think we've ever done before for whatever reason. But uh, you guys are Roastar is doing a design awards again this year. Is that for a bigger convention, or is that just a thing you're doing?
It's
I
just
saw
something
something
that
in
we're
an email.
doing. Yeah, it's just something that we're doing internally. Um, just we did a version of a design competition last year, where we just kind of selected some designs that like spoke to our sales team and people internally at Roastar, and then congratulated those customers on having a good design.
Hmm.
This year, we're opening it up for customers or consumers or anybody to submit if they had a package that they enjoyed. So it'll be a little bit more kind of open to submitting design. So if you
Is
have,
that going to be on like social media or online, like a link or something that I can share?
uh, yeah, I will get you a link to share it. I don't know what that
Awesome.
looks like quite yet. We just launched it last week, so it'll be open for submissions for the next to be determined. I don't know off the top of my head. For the next period
We'll
of
talk about
time
it too.
that
Yeah.
will be established. Yeah, so people can submit any packaging designs that spoke to them, and then we'll kind of internally go through and there will be an internal voting. So Roastar will select which the winners and nominees of each category.
Interesting. Yeah, well, that's cool. I know you guys have always sponsored a lot of design awards at different conventions and things, which is kind of a cool way to support uh, different industry or different businesses in the industry in a different way, and just bring attention to it. We were talking about the color scheme before, but you know, I would like to think that I'm the type of person who wouldn't let, oh, this is a craft bag paper package and it just has the product in it that, I think there was a time where you'd be like, oh, they must be really serious. They're not wasting time on the package. But that's kind of gone away now. And now people want to know more. They want to know the story. They need to know the information. They want to know someone thought about the coffee, cared about it enough that they're presenting it in a way that feels like they care about the presentation as well. And I don't know that that's always a good thing, but it definitely has changed how I buy coffee, especially at the store. I'm more willing to trust a brand that like I see putting the effort into their packaging because I feel like maybe they're also putting the effort into the other parts of it, especially if it's like a new to me coffee. I think there's a weird mental calculus as consumers that we also do. Like, as I'm saying this out loud, I'm realizing I'm also calculating in my head somewhere some sort of weird Ryan brain algorithm what the size of this coffee company is. Are they super small and tiny and maybe don't have a budget for this type of packaging? Like, is the craft bag with a sticker like a big deal for them? And if so, then great. Maybe the coffee is also great. But you can kind of see where where people are either like super excited to share with you, or maybe they're just like, yep, somebody in marketing said to do this, or this is what we've done and it's fine. And we don't care about that part.
I think there are levels to it, um, but not. It's never black and white. Like
No.
Brandywine Coffee is a roaster who does some super great coffees. They use a blank bag with a label, but it's not just a blank bag with a label. Like you can, I don't know what it is, but like you can tell that there's intention behind it, even though it's a simple bag design. Like they do a wax stamp on their bag. Just like
Nice.
many very small things that elevate it, and you can still get that same sense of somebody thought about this, like as much as they thought about the coffee. So it's small details. But yeah, I agree that when you can tell effort went into the packaging, it indicates other things too. You know, they're taking the time to think about this. They're also probably taking the time to think about their roasting and maybe kind of the sustainability behind it, other pieces, like other things with, are they treating their employees well? Like just a kind of small things that people focus on indicate that they're thinking about other things too.
Is that a new mug to you? I don't
This
feel like I've
is,
seen that.
it's relatively new. I got it this year. I bought this at Co-Row, a
Oh
co-roasting
yeah, in
facility
the
in,
Bay Area.
yeah, San Francisco.
Mhm.
It's really cool. It's like I think it's a slit porcelain, I believe is like what it's made of. It's my most expensive coffee mug, even though it's like
It
this
must
big
be
and doesn't even have a
serious
handle.
because I know you don't need coffee mugs. So if you buy it, I know that it's you must like really like it because uh I would never have to buy a coffee mug for the rest of my life. So if I do, it means that I really want it.
I have a lot of coffee mugs, and I think probably 90% of them are 6 ounces or less. I'm very much part of the tiny cup gang.
Oh yeah.
Like if I can hide my coffee mug behind my hand, then it's I might buy it. Like I just, the smaller the better.
The place that we're renting, I have coffee mugs in storage. I've got my little salmon mug because I just bought that one. But almost all of them are just kind of these like vintage little flower mugs here at the house. And every day I think, oh, I should open the box that has my coffee mugs and get out like one of the mugs that I like. But that means undoing the packaging tape, unwrapping it, trying to figure out which mug I'm going to take out, repackaging it with a gap in it, and then having to remember where it is when we move out of this short term rental. And so I just stick with the little flower mug. But it is way too big. I mean, almost my entire morning batch of coffee fits into one mug, which I don't like.
I mean, I like to have a small cup and then I'll just refill it like 3 or 4 times.
I feel like I'm doing a lot of product placement today. This is the new lid on the Simply Good coffee brewer that they sent because the original lid wasn't great. And they realized that in part because a lot of people like myself said, hey, this lid is terrible. And I don't trust it. And I think it's going to fall off when I pour. And to their credit, they just kind of sent out an email and said, hey, like, we're hearing that this lid isn't great. We're not super pumped about the design of it. It didn't come back the way we thought when we, sent it out to the factory. So we're making a new lid that's a better one and just like keep an eye on the mail. And then sure enough, they like sent out this new lid to every single customer who bought their brewer, which I just thought was like, it probably cost them a good chunk of money. They had to redesign a product. They had to go down their list of buyers. They had to ship it out. And obviously, shipping has gotten really expensive. But it's a million times better. And like, as a customer, I'm like, oh shit, like they actually care about like this. They could have easily said, and what I think a lot of companies might do is here's a new model. It's better. You can buy it for X number of dollars, or whatever. But they just said no, like we didn't deliver the way we planned, so here you go. I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to sigh like that. I'm watching the leaves fall. I spent hours picking up leaves yesterday morning, and it just didn't take. When I looked out this morning, I was like, "Oh god, I got to start all over."
Raking leaves is one of those things that I don't have to do
Mm-hmm.
because we rent and that's done for us. So I tend to romanticize it.
Mm-hmm.
We
I,
did the marketing
Yeah.
team here did like a leaf, like raking leaves, just like as a volunteering thing. So we raked up somebody's yard in town. And beforehand, I was so excited. I was like, you guys, I love raking leaves. I never get to do this. And then like a half hour in, I was like, I don't think I actually like raking leaves. I just
No.
like the idea of it.
Yeah. You want to put on a fleece vest and throw some leaves up in the air and have a golden retriever run by. I don't mind. I like part of our rent agreement is actually I do the yard work. That's part of the deal. We have a pretty good rental situation, and I'm happy to do it. I don't mind like mowing lawns or gardening. Like gets me outside. I like all that stuff. But there is a tree like I have never seen, and I think yesterday we packed up, let's call it 15 jumbo bags of leaves, and then ran out of bags. And so I just used tarps, and I just loaded the tarps and dragged them off to the side and stacked them like another 8 by 10 foot spot in the driveway from where they were going to get picked up. And that was just like one day. Like the tree is still covered in leaves that are coming down. And so I was just like, how is this even humanly possible? And I feel so bad. Like, even though it is, part of our rent and stuff, it's not like I can magically make all the leaves just fall in my own yard. Like, this place is on a corner. And so all of the houses around, where the wind blows in the general direction of south, uh, none of them have the same beautiful tree, but they all have yards filled with leaves. And I feel so bad about it. So I'm always trying to like get on top of it faster and faster. And I like started to apologize to people, like when I'd see them on the sidewalk or something or walking their dog. And everyone's been just so incredibly lovely about it. Like, what are you going to do? It's a tree. And I'm like, I get it, but like, it's not your tree. And like, you were literally doing landscaping or work in your yard because of it. But they've all been around here a lot longer than I have. So I guess they're used to it. Anything you're excited about? We're at like the end of the year. It's November, but it feels like if the ads on television are to be believed, it's Christmas season already. So it feels like things are winding down. Like there's no major conventions the rest of the year for coffee. I feel like, you got to make the effort right now between now and the end of the year. So just isn't stuff going on. And then even into January, really, it's not until like February, March that stuff starts picking up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of nice too, the fact that, yeah, travel and major coffee events are pretty much done for the year. We just wrapped up Coffee Fest Orlando, which was the last coffee show on what we call like our like traveling circus of coffee events. You've been to a few of those. It's all the same exhibitors and everything. So we said like our more final goodbyes. Usually it's just about a month or two between time seeing each other. And we were kind of, joking that it was like the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's kind of a lull, which is kind of nice to do more like planning. We're definitely looking forward to next year more. All of the Coffee Fest shows, kind of start up in like February, March. The World of Coffee / SCA, I'm still going to call it SCA for a while, is in April, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So usually a lot more planning goes into that. So I know you and I have already been talking about that. Lots of things going on there, always.
Yeah, I've already got at least two permanent or two serious commitments to events. We're doing a live show down there this year. So there'll be more on that coming up. And then Hosea is also doing an end of competition event that Saturday. So I am assuming I might get invited back to judge again, but I don't know. We'll see if I've overstayed my welcome or done too much table talk. We'll find out.
You got to work on your cupping face.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for the rest of the day. Cupping face. Happy, delicious. Oh, you're saying I need to be. Oh, I'm saying I need to be more expressive. You're saying I need to be less expressive.
Stone cold.
I still won't be able to do it. I'd be like, try to keep my face like, like I had. But maybe if I get Botox or something beforehand, I'll be able to keep a straight face. but my
But
eyes will still
you'll
be
have no
like,
other choice.
yeah, I can't do it. I'm the eye rolling generation. That's part of. I think that's probably how we're identifying. Nick, thanks for the coffee, man. I gotta. Yeah, I don't want to edit more than 50 minutes of this. You gotta be out of your mind. Still want to talk though. If that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and having a cup of coffee with Nick and I. You can find Roastar online at roastar.com. They're a coffee packaging company that make a lot of the packages we talk about on the show and are just supportive of the packaging and coffee industries, generally speaking, as well as supporting this show. They're the presenting sponsor of Coffee People. You can find our show, Nick and Ryan Drink Coffee, as well as Coffee People and our Coffee Smarter segments on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to podcasts or watching them now. I'm not a watcher. I'm a listener. That sounded weird when I said it, but you can find our show online as well at coffeepeoplepodcast.com. We do regular articles every week. There's a newsletter that goes out, but there's also just a lot of content there on where we've been and what we're doing in the world of coffee. We'll also post about upcoming events like our Coffee Smarter Live show at next year's World of Coffee event in San Diego. And we hope you check it out and follow our newsletter. We'd really appreciate it. Again, that's coffeepeoplepodcast.com. And wherever you are, I hope you've got a good cup of coffee. Please tip your baristas if you're out in the world. Cheers, everyone. I think they have about 10 runs. I know they claim like a lot more than that, but about 10 total. The cat can join. It's always fun. Hey, buddy. Either way, we've gone way longer than normal. I'm just enjoying my cup of coffee.